some mic adjustment too. No, I'm only joking. I'm not actually bitter. I don't actually know what a gourd is. I mean, I have a vague kind of idea of what a gourd is, but not an intimate knowledge. What I'm going to do, so I actually don't know what I'm going to do. All day I've been thinking I was going to be performing with someone, and now I'm performing alone. But I'm actually not going to, well, I'm hoping I'm not going to perform alone. I mean, I kind of hope I'm going to be performing alone, because I hate open mics. But what I'm going to do is have this mic, I am actually going to adjust it with my hand, as a kind of open mic for 7 minutes. So it'll be the shortest and therefore the best open mic that you've ever been to. And if anyone at any point wants to come up and, why, I'm like talking between the microphones here. If anyone wants to come up and use that mic as an open mic to read something, then just go ahead. I'll shut up when you do that, and it's there for you. You can use it during this. But otherwise, you're just going to hear from me. But I really hope someone does. I did a lecture the other day, first year lecture, and it was like the last lecture of terms. It was like a performance lecture, and there were poets, like staff members performing, and then we had the rest of it, which was meant to be open mics. And I was like, come on up, like do a poem, whatever. Read a poem by someone else. Read one of your own poems. It doesn't really matter. You can use that mic. That was another mic. It was behind the lectern. Everyone was so backward coming forward about it. They didn't want to come up and do a poem. And then right at the last minute, when there was like 5 minutes left of the lecture, they were all like sticking their hands up. And none of them needed the toilet. I don't know. That's why it's so sick with putting your hand up. Okay, so earlier today, when I realised that I wasn't going to be performing with Dave Spittle, I happened to be at a church fete. And what they had at this church fete was this cellophane-wrapped art tie, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, I know who would enjoy this art tie. S.J. Stephen Fowler would enjoy this art tie.
That's
and I also had a brilliant idea of what he could write on the art tie, which is just Dave Spittle, Dave Spittle, Dave Spittle, Dave Spittle, Dave Spittle. Also, there are 2 art ties. It is singular here, but it is in fact plural when you actually get into the box, which I haven't done. You can see it's still wrapped in cellophane. I don't know. I keep seeing these adverts for Dynamo doing Burying Alive. I don't know why that made me think of that. But you also, in this box, you get 2 ties and 1 test tissue. It doesn't specify what you're meant to test on the tissue. Tubes of paint. There's a red one, a yellow one, a blue one, a brown one, and a white one, and a brush also, I believe, is included. So that's the art tie. But the most interesting thing about the art tie that I spotted is, can you see my leg is shaking a little bit? The interesting thing about the art tie is that it says that it was designed somewhere, unless I imagined it, by someone called Giuseppe Dessi. Now, I didn't know who Giuseppe Dessi was, but then I looked up who Giuseppe Dessi was, and Giuseppe Dessi was a Sardinian novelist. By the way, I'm not keeping track of time, so you have to. Giuseppe Dessi was a Sardinian, especially if someone else gets on stage, then you can just pull the plug.
Yeah.
Giuseppe Dessi was a Sardinian novelist whose second novel, actually, was called Il Desertore, The Deserter. And I started researching a little bit about Giuseppe Dessi. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He was the most illustrious citizen of Villa Sidro, damning the faint praise, and he was born in Cagliari on 7th of August 1909. He lived his childhood and adolescence in Villa Sidro, first with his maternal grandfather and then in a house purchased by his father, General Dessi. He suffered from the constant absence of his father to such an extent that he failed his grammar school final examinations. When that sentence started, I thought it was going to be something a little bit more like, problematic. I mean, failing some school exams. Who gives a F? That's a joke, because that's a fail. Get it? Right. He withdrew from the regular school, just like in a novel. He discovered a library behind a wall in his grandfather's house. A great uncle who was a Jacobin. Now, I was half tempted to bring a mallet and try and find a library behind that wall, but I'm not going to. A great uncle who was a Jacobin left it, and upon his death, the relatives had it walled up. Reading these volumes enriched the boy and destabilized him at the same time.
Wow.
So, his first novel was San Silvano, and then in 1961 he published Il Desertore. So, I started to look up about Il Desertore, and I could only find 1 page of it, but I was able to, I didn't look that hard, but I found 1 page in an Abe Books advert, sale, whatever you call it, listing, and this was it. It's from chapter 11, and it's only the first page of the chapter. This was the moment when Mariangela Ica presented, you're all so shy, it drives me mad. Right, with the 835, presented Pietrina Churchy with the 835 lira wrapped up in her handkerchief just as she had taken them from the priest's house. The girls had only begun. Please welcome to the stage.
Yay!
I'm short. Okay, I've got this poem which is written from the perspective of... my name is Varia. I've got this poem that is written from the perspective of a court jester, and it's almost a concrete poem. I don't know. It looks like this, and Francis actually told me that I should not be telling people what it looks like, but I think I should tell you, because for me it looks like a window. And I know I wouldn't be able to always tell people what my poetry is supposed to look like, but I think as long as I'm here, I should do that, because I just want to. Okay, I'm going to read it. Something is out of order.
I'm really, really sorry.
You got.
Something is out of order in the Palace of Dreams tonight. The maids have not lit the fire or the candles, leaving the mantelpiece coughing in the dark marble hall, half a dirty moon reflected on his side. I, the court jester, am on the floor, head leaning on my mistress's chair. I close my eyes and imagine how in the middle of the ball, she, the most woman on earth, would seek me out in the crowd, cup my face in her angelic hands and whisper in a deep velvet voice, "Darling." The polished parquet, used to the constant galloping of hypocritical heels, now glimmers naked and shameful. This darkness does not need my truth, nor my jokes. The cold has reached the insides of my bones. I, the court jester, may be alone in the Palace of Dreams. When the room is beaming with light and colours, the windows become full of smiles, grotesque hairstyles, hats, polite bows, and intricate brow movements. But tonight, I am not sure if there is glass in the windows. I see a blue swamp stretching in all directions. For the first time, I pay attention to how desperately the tall grass is staggering in the gusts of wind. I, the court jester, wish I could go to my master's room and curl up on the sofa behind the curtain, but I'm afraid. I sense that tonight the Palace of Dreams is filled with skeletons, half a dirty moon shining through their eye sockets, crystal shards of the chandelier mixed with pearls from a lady's necklace are all over the parlour. Under the whalebone crinoline is my mistress, no ligaments to hold her together. Something has shattered in the Palace of Dreams tonight. I am the only one left, but I am not to pick up the pieces. Thank you.
Wow, that was such a gorgeous poem. Thank you so much. What was your name? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Varia.
Faria. Thank you so much. What an amazing reading. That was such a brilliant performance.